One, two. 1 2 1 2. Hello 1 2. Ngomong internet has sanggo mala singkat dulu be green namal. Aha. Ani imata tulu. So muda be bayar we go 6:30. So it is same. No, it is the SIM card utar. John SIM card kilometer aja. Tunggu kilometer aja. Itu ada SIM card utar. Yo. Apa ya? Better, huh? Ini nasi kalau. 1 2. One, two. One, two. I think it's Brikama.
xaw ma lu tax laanuñ waaye ki li kii wax dëgg la ma ne xaw ma lu tax laanuñ benn tey kii ne ma duñ laan because defuñ leen dara.
xale yaa ngi ñu ngaa reyal jigéen benn jigéen a ngi téye muus.
live la ni
waaw.
Kër Faat.
am na ku ko lifi de somebody moo ko record live but international media house.
Yes. Toppal fii rek nga xam ne su tooyee tamit dañ ko déggal su leeree fii rek nga daal waa baka wi uri la sa waa baka wi
waaw. yooyu dañ ñëwoon pour def ko waaw. ñii ma fekkale ñu nga taxaw ma ne leen yéen ñii du ko siwul sax pour ñëw tàcc ñoom Maria ñu nga taxaw foofu.
man jël naa seetaan fii de mobile message.
romba di gis nga ñu kii romba di leen yuuxu di wéy man ay dugg yéen a ngi taw sax si géej gi.
visit back.
How much
My
was
sister.
I'm going to induction.
Hello. Hello? Hello? Why don't see? Boy. Yes, it's about me like. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Uh-huh. Uh, uh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Uh, yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. 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 No, I got it. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Spokesperson,
Hey, Hannibal.
how are you?
Fine. What's wrong with you? No. You knew the feeling. You want to
I got nothing on you, God. I got nothing on you. And I know you know where I'm coming from. Okay, Julie.
What? 6:30 like on media.
You know where I'm coming from.
Wow, I go to millionaire now.
What's the name there, son? That could have a millionaire in a son. What's up?
Yeah. Once more president like this, Sumanyo, right? Sumanyo, small president, the more of and if I'm moving this one,
Hey, come on. You can go there. Follow the news. I don't want to do that. I would like to do
yeah.
Ready? I didn't say.
boy ñu Brikama la nekk ñu Brikama la jógee nii boy
Oh, yeah.
man sa scooter moo jël si xam nga fi mu dem mu dee te baax na ah
Namin ko lang sa kayo na. Nanda sa nga bigyan ako. At bigyan ako. Hindi nga pala. Ay, ikaw yung pagkakaayos na. Fulus. Very good. Yeah. No, not bad. I'm very complete.
Siki ma tegal ko
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the media. On behalf of the Secretary General and the party leader, I want to thank you profoundly for the very, very prompt notice that we issued, and we are very gratified. The United Democratic Party is very, very gratified with the way the media of the Gambia has been treating our business. No matter how short the notice is, we see you in your large, large numbers to come and hear what the party leader and what the United Democratic Party wish to share with the public. I want to make you take note of the fact that if we were another party, we probably would resort to self-help on all these issues. But our commitment to the rule of law and the assurance that everything we are doing is subject to the law, and the assurance that we are committed to completely peaceful means. That is, whenever an issue arises that is of national concern and is relevant to national development, the party leader will be leading from the front to talk to the media and to talk to you, to talk to the Gambian people through you. So I'm very grateful on behalf of our party, on behalf of the party leader, that you have honored this invitation so promptly. I call and I send the notice less than 2 hours. You can see your fraternity has come in. I thought it's important that we start the introduction that way. With us here is the former finance minister and the national treasurer of the United Democratic Party, Mr. Honorable Amadou Sane. On the left-hand side of the table is the executive committee member and women councillor of OKMC, my sister, Miss Marong, Bine Marong, Badibunka sister of mine, and the deputy senior administrative secretary of the United Democratic Party, Honorable Olidiba Wada, myself, Almami Fandinkal, the party spokesman, and our campaign manager, Tarafa Sonko, and executive committee member, Ajabinta, are here for this very short press briefing, I can assure you, unless you want to ask many questions. Thank you very much for coming. Your Excellency, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tal, and once again, let me thank you, members of the press, for your quick and swift response to attend this briefing. Thank you very much for indulging us and for accommodating us at a very short notice. I want to start by congratulating all the aspiring candidates who have submitted their nomination papers to the various regional IEC offices for the purpose of contesting the 9th April parliamentary elections. I want to congratulate all of them for so far, although it has not been announced whether nominations have been accepted, but at least for receipt of their documents, awaiting scrutiny and final approval by the IEC. Because, you all know the purpose of this press briefing. It is as a result of the rejection by the Brikama Administrative Area Regional IEC office, the returning officer, who rejected the nomination papers, or the nomination rather, of Mr. Sabali. We were keenly following the proceedings on Kirifatu, and in fact, during the proceedings, we had the chairman, or sorry, the returning officer, tell Mr. Sabali that, well, his itinerary, would have to be confirmed if he's moving from Kubariko to another, what route they will take. So for us, that means that, certainly we cannot talk about confirming the road that any particular candidate will be taken if there is no hope of that candidate's nomination being accepted. But I went to the extent to say what that type of meetings we'll have, whether there are rallies, whether they are just ordinary meetings, or whether they are caravan. All these things should be indicated in the form that was there. However, at the end of their interaction, he says, I reject your nomination, I do not accept your nomination because the Commission of Inquiry has banned you from contesting under Section 91E of the Constitution. The constitutional issue arose immediately when he looked at the documents. For him, there is a constitutional issue. And that constitutional issue could not be determined or should not be determined by the returning officer. That should be determined by the Supreme Court, because if an issue of interpretation of the Constitution arises, the proper person, authority to do so, is the Supreme Court, is not the returning officer, whom, with all due respect to him, I know is not even a barrister to really interpret the Constitution to determine an important issue as the right of the people of Busumbala to elect their representative to the National Assembly. However, gentlemen of the press, you are all aware that in 2017, by legal notice number 15, a commission of inquiry was established to investigate a whole lot of things concerning former President Yahya Jammeh and his close associates. That commission is commonly known, okay, everybody calls it as the Janneh Commission. He was the chair, a very, very erudite lawyer, a very accomplished lawyer, a lawyer who knows the ins and outs of the Constitution and other laws of the Gambia. And certainly, when he presides over any commission of inquiry, one would always find that whatever that commission comes out with would certainly be one that would not be susceptible to different interpretations. No, that will not allow. Because that commission, one of the terms of its reference is, and I quote, to present its findings to the government, making such recommendations as it deems fit in relation to any person or matter, and anybody, and embodying in its report a full statement of the reasons, leading to those findings, a full statement of the reasons. Now, we know that the Commission has really submitted its report. And insofar as it relates to Mr. Mahmoud Sabali, Volume 1 and 2 of the Commission's report, page 207, deals with former Secretary Generals, Njogu Elba and Mahmoud Sabali. And it says, I'm quoting the Commission's report, former Secretary Generals, Messrs. Njogu Elba and Mamadou Sabali also facilitated the process for ex-President Jammeh to withdraw sums of money, particularly from the numerous accounts mentioned above, such as tax recovery account at GTB, Canela International Festival tribute for Michael Jackson, International Gateway account at CBG, and they should be sanctioned. They should be sanctioned. That is what the commission says. And then it goes on to say, tax revenue account. Ex-President Jammeh and Jogu Elba are jointly liable for $15,536,609 cash withdrawal and $946,834.92 for payments deemed to be ineligible. Ex-President Jammeh and Mohamed Sabali are jointly liable for $4,845,278 cash withdrawal and $19,311,683 for payments deemed to be ineligible. There were also sums withdrawn directly by the respective persons. Mr. Mohamed Sabali withdrew $100,000 from the National Youth Development Fund account on 13 February 2014 and $1 million from the International Gateway account, and money should be refunded by him. Money should be refunded by him. Then it goes on to say they should not serve in any public office again or be appointed as directors for any state-owned SOES for 10 years. Now, gentlemen, friends, these are the findings of the commission, that there is liability for some of these amounts. And all we know is when a man is liable for anything, it's a debt that is owed. And that is why I say that should refund it. So it's a debt. It's not monies that have been found to have been misappropriated. There's nothing criminal in that. Now, this man, I'm sure maybe he didn't even have this report, just says that the commission has ordered that you'll be banned. But why should anybody be banned by the Constitution under Section 90? Section 91E of the Constitution sets out one of the disqualifications from membership of the National Assembly. That provision of the Constitution states, and I quote, "No person is qualified for election as a member of the National Assembly if he or she has been found by the report of a commission or committee of inquiry, the findings of the proceedings of which have been held and published in accordance with the relevant law, to be," now I want you, gentlemen, "to be incompetent to hold public office by reason of, 1, having acquired assets unlawfully." That's one reason why you should not, that if the commission makes such a recommendation, then you are disqualified by reason of acquired assets unlawfully. Or defrauded the state, or misused or abused his or her office, or unlawfully acted in a manner prejudicial to the interests of the state, and the findings have not been set aside on appeal or on judicial review. Now, gentlemen of the press, it is clear from the findings of the commission that Mr. Sabali was only found to be liable in civil debt. There is no finding of the commission, no recommendation by the commission that he should be banned from holding office because he has abused his office, or he has misused his office, or he has defrauded the state, or he has acquired assets unlawfully. There is no such thing mentioned by the commission. For this gentleman just to sit down there with a wave of his hand and say, no, you are disqualified, not even knowing what the content of the report of the commission is, not even adverting his mind to the Constitution and say, what, these things, do they fall within Section 90? 1E. Do they fall within it? And we strongly believe that it does not. But again, this probably a grand design to have Mr. Sabali candidature defeated. Now, the government's white paper on this also does not talk of Mr. Sabali having acquired assets unlawfully, or having defrauded the state, or having acted in a manner inimical to the state, or having abused his office or misused his office. Never. The government white paper also doesn't say so. Now, the white paper states this. It's very short on most. It said, Mr. Momodu Sabali started at the central bank as, how do I stop this? How do I, Mr. Momodu Sabali started at the central bank as an economist from 1999 to 2009. He was director of budget at the Ministry of Finance from 2010 to 2013. He was appointed as acting Secretary General in June 2013, and then subsequently confirmed as Secretary General and Minister for Presidential Affairs in the same year. His service was terminated in June 2014. The Commission found inter alia that during his tenure as Secretary General, Mr. Momodu Sabali was signatory to various public accounts and was involved in the withdrawal of large sums of public funds, some of which were not accounted for on the instructions of former President Jammeh. The Commission found that Mr. Momodu Sabali and former President Jammeh are jointly and severally liable for the said amounts of money misappropriated by former President Jammeh. The government notes that Mr. Sabali's many involvements in the financial transactions of former President Jammeh, which was not part of his official duties, especially as Secretary General, demonstrates the enthusiasm with which he facilitated these transactions. His conduct fell far short of the standard of professional conduct expected of the head of civil service at the time. Consequently, the Commission accepts the recommendations that Mr. Momodu Sabali should not serve in any public office again or be appointed as director of any state-owned enterprise for at least 10 years. Come on. Mr. Sabali is hereby banned from holding public office for the remainder of his life. The monies shall be recovered from the assets of former President Jammeh. So all this shows that Mr. Sabali did not acquire any monies unlawfully. It shows that Mr. Sabali did not defraud the state. It shows that Mr. Sabali did not abuse his office, so that everything was at the instance of the president, of former President Jammeh. Now, how could it be that from me owing money, civil debts, even if the government, why should that stop me from holding, contesting elections? Why should Section 91E be a bar because I owe money? And in fact, government says that, no, Jammeh should pay these monies. And it was justified because Mr. Sabali never misappropriated funds, he never defrauded the state, he never abused his office, he never did anything inimical to the interests of the state. But in any case, if the Commission were to base their banning recommendation on any of these things in Section 91E, it will say so very clearly in no uncertain terms. Because I know the chairman of that commission, as I had stated earlier, a very learned lawyer, in fact, the most senior lawyer, he is the doyen of the bar. At the time, he sat as chairman, and he was assisted by one of the greatest legal minds of this country, Mrs. Ami Bensouda. If these things were there, misappropriation, defrauding, unlawful acquisition of funds, they would have so stated in their report. and they will say that Muhammad Sabali should be banned because of this, because of that, because of that. But no. So, gentlemen of the press, you can see that this officer, returning officer, first usurped the functions of the Supreme Court to reject Mr. Sabali's nominations. Second, the reasons why Mr. Sabali could be disqualified from contesting elections are not contained in the report of the Commission. And this, in fact, confirmed by the white paper, which says that all the monies that Mr. Sabali was alleged to have should be refunded from the assets, should be recovered from the assets of the former president. Why ban him? Why ban him? We want to put out this to the world and to say that, again, IEC is at it again. IEC is at it again to help the NPP win unmeritorious electoral victories. They are at it again. And there could be no clear indication of that than what this returning officer has done. He has no authority. He should have accepted the nomination and let anybody object to the nomination on the grounds. But he cannot swear motu. He cannot swear motu, really, reject that, when he doesn't even acquaint himself with the white paper, the report, as well as the Constitution. For all I know, unlawful acquisition of assets is criminal. For all I know, defrauding the state is criminal. For all I know, misappropriating of fund is criminal. And then, of course, for all I know, libel. For all I know, that libel is one indicating indebtedness. And that if you are liable for money, it means that you owe the money. And the Constitution does not have that as a disqualification. Being indebted is not a disqualification. I hope that the institutions of state, particularly the IEC, at this crucial moment of the life of this country, should be very careful how they handle these thorny political issues, how they handle these thorny political issues which are governed by laws. And proper thing for him to have done was the provisional acceptance and consult the Attorney General on this, or their own leader or their own lawyers. But he says Mr. Sabali has 48 hours. We will not only appeal within that 48 hours, but we will also challenge the decision in the High Court, as others have done previously, as CA did with the nomination of Mr. Cisse, as my party also did with his nomination. We'll do that, and we'll show that Mr. Sabali contests these elections. That's what we're going to do. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I have concern. See, virtually all the access routes to my house, you have paramilitary stationed in them. Even at the back, you have paramilitary stationed there. This is an act of provocation. We are law-abiding citizens of this country. I want to appeal to the Inspector General of Police to please withdraw your men. This house, this office, crowds will come here. This is a political season. And nobody is going to stop a UDP crowd coming here. And whatever we do, we are going to do it within the confines of the law. Please, let us help out each other to keep the peace and tranquility of this country. That is in our interest, all of us. And do not believe that because you have men whom you have supplied with tear gas, that they can really cow the entire nation. No, they cannot. But that should not happen. That situation should never arise. Leave us. We are law-abiding citizens. We have always, for the past 27 years, since the founding of UDP, we have always been doing things in accordance with the law. We have not done anything to be in contravention of the law in this country, and we'll continue to do so. But we must also not be provoked. You cannot bring your men, station them to access roads, and then you have my supporters coming here. This is the political season, coming here for various reasons, and trying to intimidate them or trying to stop them from coming. That is not acceptable. Please, ask your men to withdraw your men. And I'm appealing to all those people who preach peace for this country, who promote stability in this country, to please join me and ask the Inspector General of Police to really use his men on better circumstances than this one. We will never do anything that goes wrong against the law, but we will also not be stopped from embarking legitimately on the exercise of our legitimate political rights. Human Rights Commission, please, you heard me. You have invited us and the IEC and others to a meeting on the 15th, discuss human rights issues. And this is one of the fundamental human rights issues for political parties to carry on with their political activities unhindered, unimpeded. It's a fundamental human right. And we want you to join us to ask the Inspector General of Police, please, not to provoke us. We've seen the very ugly scene in videos of how a gentleman was being brutalized, at least about 5 PIU officers, maltreating him, torturing him. You could have, easily arrest him and put him in handcuffs. You don't need to brutalize him. And we've seen that on videos. And this sort of situation cannot continue to happen. It's just that our people acted with good sense, because there were a lot of people around who could have descended on those 5 or 6 police officers and handled them. But our people, they acted with sense of responsibility, that if the police behave irresponsibly, they as citizens of this country will not behave irresponsibly. Gentlemen of the press, this is all I have to tell you. As the events unfold, we will keep you engaged, we will keep you informed. One thing I know is that Mr. Sabal's rejection is wrong. The person who took upon himself to interpret the law is wrong. He has no authority to do so. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, Party Leader. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it's very late in the day. We will be happy to entertain a few questions on this matter specifically. The protocol is that you tell us who you represent, and you can ask your question in any language you prefer. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Good evening. This is Keva Ansumane for Voice Newspaper. Honorable, I would like to know the fact that the courts, as you mentioned, that whether they give him 48 hours, to organize himself, whether that is going on or not, UDP will take the issue to the court. Do you still have in the court after what your party have gone through from the presidential election? And also, are you still comfortable with the current registrar that Gambian electorates are going to contest for in this parliamentary election, knowing or hearing what other political parties are saying as far as this election is concerned? Thank you very much.
As far as the courts are concerned, it is the only institution that is available for the resolution of disputes. And that institution is what we must always approach when you have disputes. The fact that we've lost one case in the courts does not mean that the courts will continue to be doing things in a way that we do not expect. We expect that justice will be done to us. I mean, we are not going to say that, no, we do not have confidence in the court because we lost one case. No, that's not the attitude of the UDP. The UDP has always believed in the judicial system and respected it, and will continue to do so until, if you find hardcore evidence of corruption, of interference, we'll voice it out. But for when that's not there, no, we'll continue, because it's the only mechanism for resolution of disputes, and you have to take advantage of that. You don't do any other thing other than that. Now, as far as the IEC is concerned, of course, we know that there's a rogue register, but then should we sit back and by our default, allow other political parties to fill the political space that we currently occupy? We cannot do that. The political space we occupy, we must continue to occupy that place, and we must make sure that we fill other political spaces that may be occupied by other political parties. Yeah. So we are not going to turn our back because, because there's a rogue register. If you do so, we'll just be letting the others take advantage of our absence, which we will not do.
Looks like you have a question or no? Well, the media is very shy today, I can see that.
No, they're
Yeah,
tired.
oh, yes, sir.
I think they're tired. I think they've been out the whole day.
Yes.
And he's hungry.
Yeah.
Ekidabu, Bakar Kamaraba official. Ntabe nyini kala bari la support la jamal mu maninga kan wara suruwa kan fola leti. Abenyin ko nga même moy comme sabali stop the mensonge pour ay nominer. Woto patiyo mu lodula le soto mi alon ko même bambanta kadum kabra kuma kan findita nomination dulal to ila dimbayali komol fra wala lodulal ta wala ya mire faye fo hansain wo sifal be continuer le bang fo de moné be patiyo bul.
Now for the IEC, il y a fait comme on savait 48 hours babulu pour appeal, un review. Par wakola, devant la mirote, ni mo savait mandi en follow là. Alors kata court, comme ça si c'est ya Kenyame, Dr. Sise, ya Kenyame, and get expedited hearing. Ko Dr. Sise expedited hearing so Nyame. Kat hanna rakafoko, tili tandam manduta campagne auto, but sabal belola, abe gagné la. That I have no doubt about. We don't malo, e ko na mo le kamna fajana, mera kuma moy, man fe mo da so te fe fono la. Den te fe fono la.
Yes, sir.
Until a thing in the 48 hours, you already know salary. Sign it up already capital court. So already Mojaba is you can already commit a report. The same thing coming last time, maybe to enjoy the job. Sign not a report. Coming last time, I'm getting young. One of the next step because Sabal man time. Imagine last time, both my party and the case by CC, it are recorded, even at the last minute, 40 items before I see it, but imagine I continue to waste the time, they waste the money. So, no more Sabal Pang party, so I'm going to make a UD.
nga jabiro men ke nga do jang ka ko 48 hours IEC already Mr. Sabala ka ko appeal dawe ka ko kata court o manke Mr. Sabala ko tela miro lo ka ko wo so fa nan ke la do nga reference ke Dr. Sela Fonko wala nan ko ci ta court le expedited hearing sorjeto men keta Dr. Sela Tato. Now, Mr. Savan Fata, I'm going to have a nomination below. No, nomination be lola len ko na ka ala nomination be lola le na lo ta ngam fon ko anara tiluru damano ama mo sa ngo campagne mo sa ba gagné la tiluru damani ngo kan mu de kan campagne ba gagné la so be même fen kan wala kam ni data code ka code push pour a ko kana delay parce que il y a risque no a wato kono
ila diamo fana ko ni fana ko ya jigi to ko ay si ni kele as a grand design mo ko kamo sabat tadani sa ni ata ko la ka do la nyama se le mo ne kele na ta bizo na ko si grand design ko ya wala kama
wala nan ko sita ko ka challenge biso no ka challenge ni ndari lol kam ndari lol kam wala nga sita ka
sa ji ko so na ta ko kala so be Allah fi
ngaluwaje ñaame na understand mo me ñaate ngole mira well na man ko na man ko ñama bito madam ya is appeal the appeal for Supreme Court but mamira be do no be
Please, any language you want.
They must have a piece of advice now so it got by force for a Savalis signing the or even Jimala. So piece of advice the man domino for building this part of area or not.
Mendila, Abedla Gambian ko bella. Walang kavo ko koko nimbakela ngalo luaka I justify luado. A ball kono mola nomination ni ba reject la ay ke luala song.
Any additional question? Moro, killing Roman Rajane. Huh? All right. No, I'm over there. I go Siloka.
Silolo. No, that's the intelligence report. Silolo. Dila Sindulado.
Maybe station
more control of what out of provocation well it a more stop the left and not supporters they will stop them can you offend he left massive ball the politics sanjano le kono tem sorry hold on the politics sanjano le kono tem jang lomo tela dulaten tak operate dame especially kabringa accidents this I operate from na bureau tamansia so na gatherings nyolu jannomo nimmen koy bo stop la ani intention na wala nimmen koy bo stop la intention na wala ikakata police on this slogan bo stop la no will not accept that don't accept that mantra ku ke men loi mantanja jannomo na command center think operate from janne mol be bolan makay bina mol ko be bolan bur futi bina mol be bolan kana janto kana kelal fonko ka mol londis loka ka ko no al tanyin kelal that is not acceptable nta son no wala de no nta son no wala adu wala na bafo kan human rights commission ne ay diamu inspector general ko le ba attented invite on the 15th ngata kacha human rights issues la as affecting political parties and IEC. So okacha kumatal bake so janim bitala folanya kafka nyanta kala ne ay kuma se kake e kana mol interrupt it's as simple as that ma for UDP dim fana ko you take the law into your hand men diate you can more for it but police all tip ko dulal mel kan saf ko bel slol mel sukika yela sukol bondi molena yela sukol bondi molena it's as simple as that.
My name is Omar Wali.
Be happy at television.
Yes. So, there are so many issues ongoing. You accuse IEC of kind of providing or helping NDP for steal the verdict of the Gambian people during the presidential election. And now there is election coming confidence in the electoral body?
I had stated at that interview that if the IEC membership is constituted by men of conscience, with this revelation they should resign. And you cannot call for the resignation of people in whom you really have confidence. Because they have betrayed. They have betrayed us. We have the tangible evidence. I hear that the chairman was saying that what we are saying is wrong, is not true. What we are putting out in the public gaze, we showed it here. We will not make any statement of such seriousness when we do not have the proof. Never. I've always been careful about that. Because we've cut them with their pants down. The only thing they can say is, it's not true. And their communication officer say, this is a distraction. What an awful response. For us to make such a serious statement, he said, that's a distraction. Distracting you from what? So, notwithstanding the fact that IEC, in my view, has misbehaved, it is the institution, as constituted now, that is carrying on with the elections. And as I say, we will not give our back to that elections. And then by default, allow others to occupy the political space that we have been occupying. We will not, by our own default, allow that.
What do you think went wrong with IEC? Because it is the same IEC that announced the results that ended Jammeh's rule. But when you lose election, you're not best pleased. And today also is saying that they kind of working with ballot to kind of seek a victory for the parliamentary election.
No, I've talked about this particular constituency. Talking about it. What went wrong with the IEC? I think you said what went wrong with the IEC. I think you should ask them. Why was it that? You do things right. Last elections, 2016, and the whole world applauded you. The whole world applauded you. Why? This time, you have not even, in fact, this time you had a better opportunity of really conducting elections that would meet the approval of everybody, all contestants. Because you are doing first registration, because the 2016 registration, election was based on voter registration that was also highly, adulterated. Because the man had people from outside the country, from customers, registered. So this provided an opportunity that you'll have a register of voters that will meet the approval of everybody. But now you have a register of voters that shows that what is time? This time is about 6 o'clock. It's about 6:30 or what? You're still registering people after close of 7:14. Still registering people. When registration should start at 5 o'clock. Had people registered in places after the close of registration in that registration center. But as bad as it is, we should really go ahead, contest the elections so that we'll continue to make our relevance felt on the political arena.
Okay, let me ask you for UDP, Alman you someone of because the almost shadow about disqualified. Finally, man see as a part of the discovery this thing. And the secondly, all the lawyers are living so.
Na jubele na kaji adun dankene atanyin kavoko kaleti jeto na men karanja to baw kan ayaitan la kavoko kaleti jeto usavoko ni leya ela san frenyake adjatan tele mbake yake bar loi to fendi jeta mayasa na men karkar loi to janto unlawful acquiring property assets mo sabale mun naful leso fo bunno fo fenda me yalu kan islamata commissioner moy tan mod sabali ye mansa kundala kodo tapaleya min tole commissioner mo fa janto commissioner e kuma men be fo ko julo nana ma je kava ko mode député ak ñi ni no la kadu ko julo le be la julo le be ni man sakunda de fana man ke tax de na man ke wodi man julu je menta ta moni man sakunda tema sa ko men sa bal carte fa carte lola ko sen kam ba fang man sakunda fang la ila white paper ye men bonde e ko ñing ko do men be ka fo mor saballa karola e ko yaya jamme le ya do mo tele nyanta jola so nata kaf ko mor sabale le kuke tanu ne tafola ko man sakunda ya nyanta jola ya jamme le to jola ba ni adiata nyambe nyene kala o damman nomde wala nan ko nyam fanan ya ka adama barod ma ko nole pour ka gagner kadu mor sabale député bun ko no woni jahna batale kañante woni jahna batale kañante
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you very much for coming again. And as the party leader has said, we will keep you engaged. We will keep updating you on progress along these lines, on all issues affecting the party's activities throughout this election period. Thank you very much. Again, we thank you for coming on time and in your numbers. Until we see you again, have a good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Can we pray together for peace in the Gambia?
I thought I said you should already. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow Friday. Because the interviews are usually long.
Every Saturday or over the weekend? We are not talking any concern.
Share it with him.
Yalla jitu e